The Great Sci-Fi Plot Debacle. A Tale of Incomprehensible Genius. Cedric Thistlebaum, renowned author of moderately successful science fiction novels, sat at his cramped desk, a blinking cursor mocking him like a particularly smug alien life form. It was the last day of his deadline, and the thought of writing the great opening to his new masterpiece had driven him to a state of chaotic existential crisis. He reached for his coffee mug. The coffee was lukewarm, as it had been sitting there for 6 hours. He took a sip anyway. It tasted like a confused puddle of regret. "Right," he muttered, cracking his knuckles with the precision of someone who had not actually been to the gym in 12 years. "I'm going to write the first line, the one that will open the doors of fame, fortune, and perhaps even a lightly used spaceship." With dramatic flair, he typed the first words. The planet Zogmoth was a barren wasteland of... No, too cliché. He deleted it with a dramatic flourish that could only be appreciated by an audience of rogue planets. He stared at the screen for a moment, considering his options. He rubbed his chin thoughtfully. This was going to be the line, the one that would spark a movement. The planet Zogmoth was a lush, vibrant world of... Wait, hold on. Lush? Vibrant? Since when did he write about lush? He couldn't even grow a decent cactus. Delete? He sighed deeply, almost shaking with the weight of the creative block. Why was writing so hard? He'd written hundreds of books, hundreds. Well, fine. They were all about different versions of the same 3 plots: dashing space captains, aggressive intergalactic slugs, and existentially tortured robots. But still, he was a professional. He should be able to do this. "Come on, Thistlebaum," he muttered. "Think. What would the greats do?" He thought for a second. Maybe he should just start with something completely ridiculous. People love that, right? The planet Zogmoth was a sentient mass of goo that... No? Sentient goo? What was he, 12 years old? He deleted that too. It was at that precise moment that his alien girlfriend, Zorflina, poked her head around the doorframe. She had long arms, a body that seemed to oscillate between shimmering lavender and pulsating neon, and a voice that could charm the very stars into rearranging themselves. "Still stuck?" she asked, her antennae twitching in sympathy. Cedric sighed. "I can't get this opening right, Zorflina. It's just not working. I'm in a bit of a creative crisis," she finished for him, walking over and picking up his coffee mug with 2 of her hands. "I can tell. You've got that look again." "I do not have a look," Cedric muttered. "I'm a writer, not a circus act." "Oh, no," she said, peering at the screen. "This is the staring at the screen like a generic human in a crisis look. It's very specific." Cedric raised an eyebrow. "If you can see that, I think it's time for me to retire." Zorflina tapped her chin thoughtfully. "Actually, if you're retiring, I could do with some better lighting in the bedroom. This place is a dump." Before Cedric could respond, Zorflina's best friend, Glorp, a gelatinous cube with a penchant for opera and annoying Cedric, floated into the room. Glorp had no discernible features, just a lot of goo that seemed to oscillate with emotion. "Is Cedric not finished yet?" Glorp's voice echoed from the goo sphere, a sound akin to a polite car alarm. "It's been hours. He promised he would serve us the human meat after." Cedric blinked. "What?" "You know," Glorp said, "the rare cut. You said you'd cook it once the writing was finished. We were going to have it with a side of gravitas and some side tension. You said that 3 hours ago, and I quote, "Just give me a bit longer, I'll finish the masterpiece, and then I'll serve you both a rare dish of succulent, tender, dripping human meat." You were very specific. Zorflina nodded sagely. "And don't forget the metaphorical garnish. You promised the metaphorical garnish." Cedric put his head in his hands. "I never should have promised to cook for gelatinous goo creatures. It's always a bad idea." He rubbed his temples. All right. Fine. I'll finish it. Just let me get this opening, and then I'll—" Suddenly, like a light bulb powered by excessive amounts of caffeine and existential frustration, a perfect thought exploded in his brain. "Wait! I've got it!" Cedric shouted, startling both Zorflina and Glorp into a brief but impressive floating panic. "The opening! The one! Here it is!" He typed furiously. It was a dark and stormy night on the planet Zogmoth, which was not really a planet, but more of a giant, slightly moody asteroid that had once been mistaken for a discarded piece of cake. Zorflina stared. "Is this—" "Yes," Cedric shouted. "It's genius. It's perfect. It's absurd and perfect in its absurdity. What better way to start a novel than with a planet that's not a planet at all? And with cake. No one expects cake." Glorp bubbled approvingly, its goo surging with pride. "I have to say, that's a strong choice. You could definitely throw in some alien confusion over cake. I like the angle." Cedric continued typing, each word flowing out faster than the last. This asteroid-turned-cake had been orbiting a sun that— Cedric?" Zorflina interrupted. "It's getting late, and your writing is delicious, but we really do need to get some sleep. You promised to—" Right, just a second." Cedric waved her off. "I'm nearly done. Trust me, this is it." He hovered over the next sentence, as if summoning the perfect combination of words, his fingers poised above the keyboard. "All right," he said, pacing around the room like a mad scientist. "Now, we need a moment of intrigue, something that will grab the reader, something subtle but impactful. Should I introduce the rogue captain here? Or the philosophical alien? No, the robot. Yes, a robot." He paused, looking at Zorflina and Glorp. What kind of robot should it be? A defective one, or just a really sassy one that hates its job? Zorflina rolled her eyes. "You're not writing the next great sci-fi novel. You're planning a dinner party." No, Cedric replied, grinning. "I'm just perfecting my masterpiece. Now, I need a bit more zest." He looked at Glorp. "Do you have any juicy ideas for a plot twist?" Glorp vibrated in a deep, guttural tone, as if pondering the mysteries of the universe. "The twist? I think the twist should be that the asteroid, cake thing, was actually a spaceship all along, and the cake was just a disguise." "Brilliant," Cedric shouted. "A disguised cake ship. I'll throw that in." Zorflina groaned. "Cedric, please. You said bed. We've been waiting for you to—" "Just one more paragraph, Zorflina," he said, his fingers racing across the keyboard. "Then I'll serve you up some human meat with metaphorical garnish." And as he typed the final line, and then, as the cake asteroid careened toward the distant stars, a voice from the robotic captain's speakers said, "Well, this was not what I signed up for." Cedric leaned back in his chair, basking in the glory of his masterpiece. Zorflina stared at him. "I think we've waited long enough for that human meat now." Cedric grinned. All right. I'll finish the plot twist later. For now, I'll make you some—" He froze mid-sentence. "What if the human meat itself was part of the plot twist, he cried. What if we are the human meat? Zorflina, already halfway out the door, sighed. I'm never going to get any sleep, am I? I guess I will have to use the toys again, shall I? Cedric didn't answer. He was too busy crafting his next perfect opening sentence. Well, what he thought was the perfect sentence, yet to be dissected by the Intergalactic Board of Writers Guild.